All right. Hello there, Fit Pros. So good to see you here today. I'm really excited because today we are talking about something super important. So before I move on, I'm going to fix the camera angle because I don't like the way this is looking. Let's see. Might be as good as it's going to get today, y'all. All right. So today we are talking about how not charging enough can kill your business. So let's get to it. Okay, so excuse me, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix this for us right now. You guys, while I'm doing that, let me know where you are coming from. Here's what I want to know from you today. I want to know where you're coming from. You're getting all the behind the scenes action, aren't you? So I've been playing with putting my camera on a tripod and kind of putting it in the middle. And you can see it's not really working out. I used to put it up above the computer. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it, y'all. I don't like it. Okay, so today we're talking about how not charging enough will kill your business, right? So I want you to put in the comments for me. Let me know, what are your prices looking like? What are you charging? And are you charging that per month, per session, per hour? How are you charging? How are you charging your clients? And what do those prices look like? That's what I want to know. So put that in the comments for me. Now, you guys, let me tell you something. It's really important at the beginning of the show here that you give me your hearts and fires. Tell me how happy you are to be here. Tell me how excited you are about the content. Answer my questions. Because when you answer the questions and when you interact with my video, Facebook sees that I'm giving you some valuable content, and then it shows to more people live. So you're helping more fitness professionals get this information that they need, just like you need it, by interacting with me during the first part of the video. So just a little tidbit there. So you guys, today we're going to talk about pricing. We're going to talk about how not charging enough will kill your business. So let's get to it. And first, let me say this is the Fit Pros Show. This is the show that I have put together for you as fitness professionals to help you get in touch with industry information, to help you grow your business, and to help you network with each other. I'm Kelly Coulter. I have been a fitness professional as well as a web marketing geek since the 90s. And now I coach fitness instructors and personal trainers on creating their own direct-to-consumer businesses. And I love my life. I love working with you guys. I love what I do. I am on a mission. I believe that we as a workforce can go out and do a better job than the big boxes like Peloton and Beachbody On Demand of getting people moving. So I believe that we have a responsibility and a duty and an honor to move the needle on health and wellness in our nation and in our world. That's what I do. Hey, and thanks for being here. So I see $30 a month. We meet at a local field for Wednesday, Friday, 5 a.m. I love that. That is what I'm referring to as delivery style workouts. So you're doing in person and you're doing direct to consumer. That's what I think we should be doing. That's what we all need to be doing, going direct to consumer. All right. So today, let's talk first. Let's talk first about the biggest mistakes that we make when we start to price our offers. So I primarily specialize in fitness instructors or fitness instructors / personal trainers. That's kind of who I work with. That started way back when I started the group in 2012, and we all started sharing choreography with each other. That has continued through the pandemic. So the people who are in my virtual studio business accelerator, most of them are instructors, which means they already understand how to go one to many. They understand how to serve many people with one offer. But they had to go direct to consumer when COVID started because all the gyms closed down. And they needed to make money and they needed to help their people stay fit and keep their minds right through the pandemic. So they started going to direct to consumer, and immediately the biggest problem was pricing. How do I price this thing? Let me try something here. All right. How do I price this thing so that it's fair? How do I price this thing so that really that was as far as the thought process went. We were so tied up and consumed with how much could people pay? How much would people pay? That was really as far as it went. We never considered whether or not it would serve our business. The pricing that we put out there would serve our business. So the number one mistake that we made and still make to this day, that every single one of us makes when we start to price this direct to consumer fitness offer, is that we don't understand our own costs. So we've already got this iPhone. I'm trying to hold mine up. Here's mine. Got my iPhone, right? Already got the iPhone, already have paid it off or are in the process of paying it, already have the bill coming to the house, right? We don't consider that a business expense. And a lot of people started just broadcasting from their phone. So they thought no overhead costs, right? No overhead costs. As time went on, they start to realize, okay, I'm going to need a real camera. I'm going to need to help pay for the internet in the house. There is fitness instructor insurance I need to pay for. There are costs associated with doing business that your business can and should be paying for, even if they are partially covered by household. So when we don't list out those expenses, then we put ourselves at a disadvantage because we don't understand how to price in order to cover those expenses. If you've ever taken the boot camp from me, you've seen me do what I like to call the value thermometer. I'm going to put you guys on hold for a minute. My son is texting me and telling me that he has an emergency. So I will be. I'm so sorry about that. My son has locked his keys in his car, which is not an emergency. So we're going to continue here. All right. So we were talking about the value thermometer. And so the value thermometer says that at the bottom, you've got the cost, right? That's the cost of doing business. That is the absolute minimum that you need to make just to break even. Then above that is the price. This is usually what we charge. And so the difference between the cost and the price is your margin. That's why we sell the products that we sell. But above that is the value. That's the value that your customers get from working with you. And that is why they buy. So what I want you to take note of is the difference between the cost and the value. There's a huge difference there. We don't want to just be at price. We want to go higher than price and be at value, because that's where your customer can really apply. I don't want to say the word value again. That's where your customer can really attach meaning with their dollars to what you do. That is how that works. So we want to price not for the cost of doing business. We want to understand the cost of doing business, but then that's just the very, very base. All right. So the first mistake we make is that we don't even list out our expenses and we don't even know what the cost of doing business is. And that is a huge mistake, of course. All right. So then number two is that we don't understand our unique value proposition. We don't understand why they would buy from us over buying from Les Mills on Demand, Beachbody, or another instructor. The fact is, consumers are buying for access to you. And so you have to become very clear on where it is that you add the greatest amount of value, what it is that people love about working with you, and what they get from it. We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we talk about transformational coaching, but I want you to keep that in mind that part of becoming this fitness entrepreneur is going to be that you need to really connect with what your highest value is in terms of what do people get from working with you and what do you have to offer. All right, so when we don't understand what we have to offer, that is big mistake number two in terms of the mistakes that we make as we are pricing our product, our fitness offer. And then number three, similar but not. So we don't understand why people buy from us. And this could play into mistake number three. But number three is that we tell ourselves or we believe that the customer is going to make the decision based on price. So we saw this in the gym industry for years and years and years prior to the pandemic. We saw gyms trying to underprice each other. So one gym was $80 a month. The gym down the street is going to be $75 a month. And then the other gym goes back and says, I'm going to be $65 a month. Before you know it, we are all on a race to the bottom. This is why fitness instructors have not had a raise in over, I don't know. I think it costs us more to be fitness instructors than we make when we go to the gym for a lot of us. And that is because most of us are making anywhere from $20 to maybe $45 or $50 an hour. And we are paying for formats, shoes, leggings, all that stuff, right? That is because the gyms themselves have gone on a race to the bottom and there is no margin there for them to pay us what we are worth, right? That is the attraction of going direct to consumer and building a business around this knowledge and expertise and education that you have got. All right. So when we think, so let me back up here. Gyms have been on a race to the bottom because they were trying to compete on price. Then what happened is that the boutique fitness industry started and they came in and said, well, we're going to give this white glove service. We are going to add a ton of value. We are going to we're going to know everybody's name. We're going to know who their favorite instructor is. We're going to give them a hot towel when they walk in. We're not going to charge them for towels. We're going to have beautiful locker rooms or maybe no locker rooms. But everybody in the gym industry said, well, that's never going to work. Who's going to pay hundreds of dollars a month to go to boutique fitness studio when you've got this huge gym with all the equipment and all the classes right down the road and it's half the cost? And what do you see? If you drive down the street and you see a Pure Barre or a Barre3 or a yoga studio and their parking lot is full, Orange Theory, parking lot full, right? Because they're doing a freaking amazing job. And then you go and you see Planet Fitness is $13 a month and there's nobody there. People are not making the decision to buy these fitness products based on price. They are just not. So that is mistake number three. We tell ourselves that people are buying based on price. They are not. They're buying based on the value they get from the product you offer. All right. So that's the three mistakes. Now let's talk about how those three mistakes damage your business. And you guys, stick your questions in the comments as you have them. I'm watching the comments, so stick your questions in there. I love to answer your questions as you have them. All right. So, number one, I want to talk about the idea that if you don't charge enough, if you are charging based on what the guy down the street is charging, I want you to consider the idea that the guy down the street is not any better of a business person than you are. So this happens a lot, especially with personal training. So you've heard me talk about personal training before, and you've heard me say the personal training is commoditized. It's hard to charge more than a certain amount because people can get a trainer down the street. So unless you're like a fitness trainer to celebrities, or you have just a ton of balls or a ton of street cred, it's hard to charge more than the average bear, right? So what we see is that, again, personal trainers will start racing to the bottom. They'll say, this guy down the street is doing 85 bucks an hour. I'm going to do 80 bucks an hour, and then I'm going to get more clients than him. Well, the problem is that, let me just throw this in there. No, none of us should be making less than $100 an hour as an entrepreneur. You have to make at least $100 an hour of billable time in order to stay in business. That's just kind of like a rule that is out there, comes from the lean startup way back in the day. So we're already at a disadvantage when we are giving an hour of our time for less than that. The fact is, that guy down the street is not going to be in business any longer than you are going to be in business when you are not making enough to stay in business. So when you undercharge, then you're doing your clients such a disservice because you're not going to be there for them in 6 months. So let's say you do really get your balls in order and you charge $125 for a personal training session, which I know a lot of us are not doing that. And then you get 5 clients, and now you're making, what is that, $600 a session, or $600 a week? All right. $600 a week is great. 5 clients is great. But if that's all you ever get, you're still not going to be in business in 6 months. You're still going to be looking for another job to support yourself. So you have to have the policies and practices and pricing in place that is going to support your business for the long term. Because if you go out of business in 6 months, you're not helping anybody. Make sense? Make sense, you guys? Okay, so that's the first thing, is if you can't stay in business, then you're not doing anybody any favors. But there's more. When we can't take time, when we don't have the white space in our schedule, when we don't have the energy after serving all of these clients because we've taken on 40 clients a week, or because we're teaching 25 classes a week in order to just make ends meet, when you set up your schedule in that kind of way, you don't really truly have the bandwidth to serve anybody well. Let me know if this is landing for you guys. I'd love to hear if this is making sense to you. So let's say that you charge $125 an hour, and then you get to where you've got 15 clients. So now 15 hours of your week is taken up with direct to client work, right? And that's great because you're making enough money, but you've still got to do your accounting and your taxes, and maybe you've got payroll, maybe you've got a VA helping you, or other things. You've got to do your social media so that you can keep up with making relationships and pulling more clients in. There are all these business development things that you still haven't accounted for in your schedule. So now, even at 15 or 20 clients, you're really stretched for time. And when you're really stretched for time, you're not able to serve your clients well. So now you're rushing through your sessions. Now you're Now you're too tired to really do the excellent job that you would like to do. And what happens is that your clients don't get the value from you that they were paying for in the first place. So even if you did get the courage and get up there and charge the high prices, if you're not doing it right, if you're not leaving enough white space in your schedule, if you're just charging for, if you're just charging hours for dollars, then you're still going to get up to a point where you're stretched and you're not serving at your highest capacity. And when we don't serve at our highest capacity, we can't grow because people are paying for value. Okay, so when we get overstretched, it's a downhill spiral. We are overworked. We are constantly looking for more customers. We're not proud of the product that we put out there because we know it could be better. And I want to contrast that against what if you really charged what you were worth and then only took the clients that applied the value that you believe that you are worth, that you know you are going to impart to your customers. What if you only took those clients? What would that look like? How would that make a difference in not only the product that you put out there, but in the lives of those clients that you serve? So much of being an entrepreneur involves taking the common wisdom or the common path of behavior and flipping it on its head. And that is true of pricing as well as of everything else that we do. I find it so often that I'll be thinking about something one way, and I'll be talking to an entrepreneur friend, or I'll be talking to my coach, and she'll say, what if you just flipped that and did that absolutely the opposite way? And then I try it and it works so much better. So I want you to consider the idea that you would only take clients that will apply the value that your product is worth. I want you to consider the idea that you need to be able to preserve some of your time and energy for what I like to call white space. And what that means is that it's the time for you to consider your business and consider your clients and consider the solutions that you are offering them so that you can continually improve those things. It's the idea that you have bandwidth left over so that you can make improvements. Oh, I love your comments. I need to watch this again on repeat. All right, so I want to go back through the pricing models now with this in mind. Oh, I didn't give you guys the pricing models. That's all right. We're going to do the pricing models. So I'm going to go through kind of the most common pricing models now, and then I'm going to talk about those with this idea in mind that we want to flip the conventional wisdom on its head, and that we only want to take the clients who apply the value to the product that we want them to apply. Because, really at the end of the day, they're only going to get results if they value what we do as much as we value it, right? Make sense? So before I do the pricing models, I'll answer this question. So Tamara says, when you say we should be making $100 an hour, what would that look like? So what I'm talking about is your billable time. In the accelerator, you guys have heard me say this a lot, that 80% of your time should be spent in business development activities and 20% of your time should be spent in delivery of services. And so that means in that 20%, you can't afford to make less than $100 an hour. And if you truly had that 20% of your hours booked, let me think about this for a second. So that would be 17 hours a week. If you're working 40 hours, let's just say you're working 50 hours, 10 hours a week is in delivery of services. So If you're working 25 hours a week, then 5 hours a week is in delivery of services. So that means, so yeah, this makes a lot of sense, right? $100 an hour for each hour that you're delivering services is $500 for 25 hours worth of work. Does that make sense? You cannot afford to be in business for less than $500 a week. Am I right? All right. So what that looks like is if you are doing group classes, if you're doing let's say monthly subscription, then you would want to be making so if you're working 25 hours a week and you're doing monthly subscription, you're teaching, let's say 5 classes a week, then that means you've got to have at least that would be, I'll do the math as we talk about the pricing models. Let's do that. All right. So the first pricing model, the one that we all started off with, was free, right? We all started going out there and just saying, here are my classes, take them. I love you. And, that worked for a little while. We had a little fun with that. And then we quickly realized that 6 months of teaching classes online for free and buying all of this equipment and paying for the internet and trying to keep people engaged was going nowhere. And it was going nowhere not only because it was not fun for us after a while, but also your clients, they want to be able to place a value on what you offer. They want to be able to put some money on the table and say, this is what this is worth to me. And when they cannot do that, it is disempowering to your clients. They can't truly apply the kind of time and effort and investment into your service that you want them to apply in order to get results when you are not charging. And you see it over and over again. The more you charge, the harder they work. This is the part of the basis of Orange Theory and a lot of the other boutique fitness studios, that people pay a premium and they show up because they paid a premium. So free only works for the people who have this long-term vision of their free offering, where they are going to develop an audience of hundreds of thousands of people and then get advertising revenue, or they're going to be able to do the free workouts and then maybe have one live a week, but they've got 50, 80,000 followers and they're able to make the money on that live workout. So there are ways that free works, but it's a long-term play and it involves huge numbers in terms of investment of your time and money up front, and huge numbers in terms of the following that you need. It's not going to be a couple thousand people. It's going to be a couple 100,000 people before you're really able to reap a return on the investment of time and money that you've put into it. So we don't talk a lot about free in the Virtual Studio Business Accelerator or in the boot camp. As a matter of fact, we don't ever talk about free. We say free is the F word. The only way that we ever use free is we might do a class and have people register for it. And then we've got their email address and we're able to market to them later on. All right, so the next pricing model is per session. And I think this is probably the most common in terms of in the Grow Your Fitness Business group. Most people are probably doing per session. And per session would be pay me $5 and you get to come to class, right? So I saw this last night. I was watching that new show on Apple TV called Physical. It's about a fitness instructor in the 80s. And they were just doing per session. Like literally you would walk into class and you would hand the instructor like $10. And I remember those days. I was cracking up about that. And you know what was so funny about Physical too is she taught her first class and the lady hands her like $40, $50. And this was 1981. And the lady looks at her and goes, that's all, 40 or $50. And she says, you only get 60%. But I thought, oh my gosh, we would love to get 40 or $50 30 years later, we're not getting that, right? This is what I mean when I say the pay for instructors has gone down, is we are not being paid what we're worth. End of story. All right. I thought that was a hilarious moment though. She goes, "This is it." And I looked at my husband. I was like, she's handed her like $50. All right. So per session is when you're just charging per session. And the problem and that would include class passes unless you're getting people into long-term class passes. So I would say anything under a 10 session class pass would count as per session pricing. The problem with per session is that your time is constantly spent looking to make sure that you're filling your next class rather than looking for ways to grow your business and truly work on your business. So that's the problem with per session from a business standpoint. From a standpoint of your customer, you want your customer to really feel like you are their trainer. You want them to look at you as the person that they go to for XYZ. And they can't do that if they're having to pull out their wallet and make the psychological buying decision every single time they want to work out. It's just going to speed up the natural attrition that happens in your client base so much more when they have to make that decision every time they work out with you, or every 5 times they work out with you if you're doing low volume class passes. So that's why I don't usually talk about per session pricing. The only time we use per session pricing in the accelerator would be when we do paid webinars, and we use those as conversion events to sell people into our longer term offers. All right, so then the third pricing model is volume pricing. And this can be in conjunction with per session, or it can be in conjunction with like a membership. And volume pricing means that you go really low and you think that you're going to make it up on the back end by having a lot of people in your program. And so it's similar to free. I like to think that it's kind of well, I won't go there. So volume pricing would mean that, let's say you're only charging like $10 a month for, all of the classes that you teach. So people get unlimited access to your classes and you're charging like $10 a month. So that works if you have a following of, again, a couple 10,000 or more people. That could work. But even then, I don't see that working unless you've got at least a couple 100,000 probably. Because the truth is, a low ticket offer is as hard to sell as a high ticket offer. The biggest stumbling block for selling any kind of fitness offer is really getting somebody to open their wallet for the first time. So whether your offer is $13 or $130, it's still just as hard to get a client to open their wallet and trust you and invest the time in you, whether it's a low ticket or a high ticket. So volume pricing doesn't really work unless you already have had a really high volume of people following you and in your ecosystem. All right, so we don't talk about volume pricing a whole lot in the accelerator. I do have a few accelerators who are doing volume, and they're doing volume because they really just want to stay with monthly subscription, and their monthly subscription is a substantial amount. It's not the lowest amount out there. It's not $13. But they don't want to do anything kind of transformational or more high ticket, which we'll talk about in just a second. All right, so number 4 is subscription. And this is where I like to see instructors start. This is the first step to building your business. It's when you get people into a subscription relationship with you where they are preferably on an automated payment platform. The money just gets drawn from their account and put into your account every month. This puts them into a different level of relationship with you where they look at you as their trainer. So now they are with you month after month after month. They're following along with everything you do. Now you are able to truly be in a relationship with them where you can help them to keep going, where you can help them to train for things that they're looking to train for or meet goals that they're looking to meet. So subscription is number 4. Now, when we started talking a minute ago about how would it look to make $100 an hour, so if you had, let's say you had a $50 a month subscription and you're working 5 hours a week. And so you need to be making $500 a week, right? Which is $2,000. So that means you have to have 40 people. You have to have 40 people at $50 a month in order to make that. Is that right? Yeah, 40 people. So getting 40 people at $50 a month sounds like a big feat. But what we're talking about is delivering services for 4 or 5 hours out of the week. And then the rest of the time you're working on your business development. That's the key. All right. So that's subscription when you've got people in a monthly relationship. To me, this is the absolute minimum of what you need to be doing to build your business. And then the last thing that I like to talk about is what I like to call transformational coaching. You'll also hear people talk about this as a signature transformation. But I like to talk about it for fitness professionals as a specialized transformational coaching relationship because so many of us have so many certifications and so much education. And we're really qualified to deliver something very specific and very life-changing to our clients, and we're not taking advantage of that. So when we can get into a relationship with a client where we're doing more for them than just teaching a step class or teaching a kickboxing class, when we are maybe meeting with them on the side or when we've got a process that they can go through where now they are doing kickboxing with us, but they are becoming more confident, losing weight, whatever that end goal is, whatever the transformation is that you promise, you can now package that as a program. And when you package that as a program, you can package it as a high ticket program. Because if someone truly has a goal and they want to go from point A to point B, and you know that you can get them there and they believe that you can get them there, they're going to pay you just about anything to be able to do that. So specialized transformational coaching is where you can really start to scale your fitness business up from just a regular subscription business to where you can start to leverage that one-to-many model at a high ticket way. That's where you can start moving toward the 6 figures. So that's where you are really going to be making $100 and more an hour for every hour that you are in your business, even in the hours that you are not delivering services. And that's where you want to be. All right, let me know if this is making sense. Is it landing with you guys? So that's what I wanted to talk with you guys about today, because I see so many of us going direct to consumer and charging so little that we're kind of running ourselves down into this downward cycle and down into the ground, and we're wearing ourselves out. And the fitness industry has one of the highest rates of, is it attrition? People quit so quickly because they're not making any money. And we don't want to be doing that anymore. We have the ability as a workforce to get out there and make a difference in this world, to really make a difference in people's lives. But you've got to start thinking about it differently. You've got to make this make money for you. It's not going to do it on its own. All right, you guys, if you are watching on YouTube, please give me a subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Get the word out there. If you are watching on Facebook on the page, make sure that you go to the top of the page, click the visit group button, get over and get into the Grow Your Fitness Business group. If you're on YouTube, go to Facebook, find the Grow Your Fitness Business group. Make sure you get in there. We will put the link in the description as well. But I want everybody in the Grow Your Fitness Business group because that's where I interact with this crowd the most. I also do these videos every week, as you know. Next boot camp is July 12th. Go to fitprosconnect.com/bootcamp and get registered. That is where I'm going to deliver 5 days of business training to you guys. This time it's free. This is the only time this year it's going to be free. So July 12th to July 16th, sell out your workout boot camp. Go to fitprosconnect.com/bootcamp. Get in there, get registered. I cannot wait to see you there. Next week, I will be back with more fantastic information for you guys. I love you, and I will see you soon. All right, bye.